Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. You can also click the notification bell. It's all free. So we've had lots of activity again up at Nancy Guthrie's house. If you've been watching, lots of cars going in and out. Looked like some private investigators were there the other day, but law enforcement was definitely there yesterday. They were out canvassing the neighborhood once again. I believe that was one of the PI's cars. I can't remember. There were so many cars going in and out. But here is the police department, police FBI, homicide, violent crimes unit. They are task force, and they were out with their notepads taking notes. JLR got a tip about a mug on the ground near someone's home with the letter G on it, which was really bizarre because it was just under a tree. Is it related? I don't know. Nobody's heard anything else about it. All we know is he did give that information to law enforcement, and they did go pick that up. You know, these cups are sold commercially. A lot of people have a last name or a first name with the letter G, so who knows? Well, we're going to talk about Luke Daley. I promised I would put a video out about his interview, and I wanted to talk about the truth, lies, and what was said in that interview, what we feel, what we think after seeing it, and take it from there. I will say that all, persons are innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't been convicted of anything. He hasn't been arrested. He was detained and released.
I have nothing to do with this case, and that's it.
Have believed that you are the person on the surveillance video, the abductor, the masked person. Is that you?
It's not me. I don't see the resemblance of it looking like me.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people see a resemblance, and we're going to dissect that a little bit later on in this video. But, a lot of people look like they could fit behind that mask. So there have been a lot of comparisons done, and there is an undeniable similarity of the shape of the nose and some of the features. Does that mean that it's him behind the mask? Absolutely not. Could it be him? Sure. It could be a lot of people behind the mask. I mean, the shape of the head, there are a lot of similarities. We never got a great look at this person. One of the other similarities is he seems to have a swollen hand. His right hand appears to be kind of bigger than the other hand, and that was something that a lot of people were picking out. The biggest thing was the fact that this person has facial hair. A lot of photos of Luke that are online, he also is always, having facial hair, a mustache, and a goatee. And for his interview, he conveniently did not have any of that facial hair, I guess to distance himself further from looking like the perpetrator, whether, he's involved or not. And he's adamantly denying that he is involved. And I do have some pictures of that where you can see the mustache and the mouth are similar. Pictures are really tough because how somebody looks when they take a picture can vary tremendously. You know that from your own photos, how you're squinting, how your eyes, where you're looking, how you're holding your mouth.
A fishing expedition for them to try to get me to say something because all the dates I was telling them where I was, things like that. I'm like, all you'd have to do is look at my phone and see my location. It was nowhere near anywhere or have any connection to this.
I did find that pretty interesting because they apparently asked him where he was on that night, on that early morning, and he was saying, just look at my phone, just look at my phone. And he says that it was nowhere around there. Well, I don't know where he was. He may know where he was. Maybe it was something that stood out in his memory. I don't know. But the fact that he kept saying, look at my phone, People aren't as stupid as they were. People are learning to leave their phones at home when they commit crimes because it's really well known all of the data that they can get off of a cellular device. I think in years past, criminals would think if they shut their phone off or they put it on airplane mode that they could get away with it. But people are a lot more savvy when it comes to tech nowadays. One could definitely commit a crime and leave their cell phone at home. That really comes into play here because a lot of people have stated they think they see a walkie talkie in this person's pocket. We can't see through the person's clothes to see what's in the person's pocket, but is that in the realm of possibility? Absolutely. Someone could totally, leave their cell phone at home and go commit a crime, and then when the data's pulled, oh, yeah, they were home on their cell phone at such and such a time. He could have left a video running. Who knows?
Thinking that I'm going to be framed for this, or they're trying to pin this on me somehow.
I also find that statement odd. I mean, yeah, there's bad cops out there, but 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. I mean, they're not just going to pin something on someone. Usually, not to say that it never happens, but come on, that's a little far fetched. People are really opening their eyes and people like to see evidence.
Did they tell you what led them to you? I mean, something made them believe they needed to talk to you about it. What was that?
I asked them. They didn't tell me any information about that.
Were you in the area of the home at the time, like the overnight, or would it have been something like, we've tracked this person near the abduction scene?
I lived near her house, but I mean, I didn't even know that until after the fact. It was because my mother was following the case, but in terms of other than that, I would just go off what my mother was telling me.
Well, let's talk about that. So, Luke lives 2.4 miles away from Nancy's home, and there are various ways that you can get there. This route takes 7 minutes. This is a different route that also takes 7 minutes. There are just many ways to go. There are some routes that aren't even on the map where you can go these side streets that wouldn't make much sense, but it'd probably add, 2-3 minutes to the trip because there's a lot of turns and winds around. And then the longest route that Google will pick up is an 8-minute route. But in any event, it's only 2.4 miles. And earlier we just talked about the cell phone and how he said it was nowhere near there. So which is it? That's a contradictory statement.
Range Rover, they towed my Range Rover, uh, did all DNA testing or whatever, and then gave it back to me. Making all these assumptions based on things that have absolutely no relevance, and they're just bringing up my past, which I mean, I do have a past, but nothing violent or anything like that. All my past has just been involved with using drugs, and I haven't been in that life for over 2 years now.
Okay, well, here's a problematic statement. So Luke states he hasn't been in that life for over 2 years. Well, he was arrested on May 15th, 2025, which is roughly 9 months from the time he was detained. So it's a far cry from 2 years. He was arrested by the Marana Police Department. This was 5/15/2025 at 11:57 a.m. We can see this was broad daylight, 11:57 in the a.m., and his arrest time was at 13:14, which is 1:14 local time. Ironically, this arrest happened where? No other than Walmart. You can see the address there, 7635 North La Cholla Boulevard, and it says in parentheses, Walmart. We've gone ahead and just Google Earth the address just to see what that area looks like. You can see it right here, and yes, indeed, it is a Walmart. Coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. Trial date is set for May the 19th. Here's the arrest detail. So Mr. Daley and the passenger were detained, which we know is Kayla Day. The keys to the vehicles were in his possession. A search of the vehicle located a black magnet box with additional heroin paraphernalia and a baggie with a small amount of a brown tar-like substance consistent with heroin on the passenger seat. A black and red duffel bag on the passenger seat held a 9mm AR pistol and a loaded magazine. Multiple empty baggies were located in a purse on the passenger floor. The items were positioned in a manner unlikely to have allowed a passenger to sit on top of the item. A search of the passenger located a large quantity of round blue M30 pills, 17 Suboxone strips, and a large quantity of U.S. currency. Post Miranda, the passenger advised the firearm belonged to Mr. Daley and stated he likely put it on the seat after she exited the vehicle. Post Miranda, Mr. Daley confirmed that he had been driving the vehicle and was with the female for approximately 2 days. He advised he had recently been convicted of a felony case, and a record check confirmed he was prohibited from possessing a firearm. The pills were later weighed, totaling 104.1 grams without packaging. This is equivalent to approximately 1,000 pills, greater than the amount typically possessed for personal use. Based on the investigation, officers determined Mr. Daley and the passenger were likely acting in conjunction to distribute illegal drugs.
So all the things that they're bringing up, yeah, I guess it's public record, but it would have came out if it wasn't for all these people speculating and doing things like that. So now people that had no idea about my past, so I've done like a good job of working past it and not having anything to do with it. So them doing that now is kind of just reopening this whole speculation and make me out to look like this bad person, which I'm not.
Well, on a positive note, if in fact he really had nothing to do with this, even though it's only been 9 months, it's a start. And if he really is changing his life around, I mean, you can't beat a guy down forever. People make horrible mistakes every day. And, I don't know what this guy's story is. For right now, there's a lot of full of bull in it, but he may be trying to get on the right track. I can't judge the guy.
And it's not just been you. People have found, records of an alleged girlfriend of yours. There's been a lot of rumors swirling around. What do you want to say about those rumors, about you, about her, about, everybody that people have looked at and said, well, they could do this?
Yeah, first of all, that's not my girlfriend. I barely knew that girl, and I was arrested with her on a completely different circumstance over a year ago. I haven't talked to her since.
Well, I don't know if he's talked to her since, but we all know already it's 9 months ago, not over a year ago. I don't know how he's in his attorney's office and he doesn't even recall the date of his crime, and his lawyer didn't even interject. I mean, I don't know why you would go on the record to claim your innocence in a circumstance, which he doesn't have to do. But you're on the record, you're on national TV pretty much, because it's on YouTube, stating how innocent you are and all of these key facts of, your unfortunate life and why people are accusing you, and you're lying. You're lying, lying, and lying, and misstating facts. Maybe not deliberately, I don't know, but your attorney that you paid for, because Luke does have a paid attorney, is standing in the back and doesn't even say anything. So I don't really understand what the point of that was. I originally thought maybe this interview was kind of a setup to see how many slips he makes when he talks, kind of like a Chris Watts, but I think he solicited this.
And I guess they're just going off of the arrest, saying that I was arrested with her, but I hardly know her and don't associate with her.
Hardly know her. Well, that's a broad statement. It said he was with her for 2 days. Generally, you don't meet a stranger and stay with them for 2 days. And you generally don't deal drugs with people you don't know, because you would think that they would tell on you. And you don't ride around with clients either for 2 days. So I don't know what their relationship was. Obviously, they were both up to no good. And I don't know how long they've known each other. But Yeah, that statement is, a little comical. And he acts like it was light years ago and it's only 9 months ago.
Connections with things that are, I don't know, basically like circumstantial, like saying my eyelashes match the guy.
I guess he's referring to the photos that are circulating online where people were trying to match up the perpetrator to Luke and see if it looks like him in any way, to see how viable of, a suspect that the public thinks he is. And there are a lot of similarities. I mean, it's just undeniable. A lot of similarities between him and the person in the mask. Again, I'm not saying that it's him behind the mask because we don't know who's behind the mask. If we did, we'd have an arrest. We wouldn't even be on here. We wouldn't be talking about it. The person would be in jail. But, I mean, the stature is very similar. A lot of people were commenting on the clothing. Was he wearing so many layers of clothing to try to look a little bulkier than he is? Or is this one of his better outfits that he felt made him look more presentable on TV? I really don't know this guy's style, but I mean, it's undeniable. He has a similar shape. He's a similar height. He's 5'8". They said 5'9". They could be off. Someone thinks this person has a bump next to their eye, but I really think it's just the lighting. Who is this person? We don't know.
In the ski mask picture, which I'm sure like if you could use anyone's picture and find similarities.
Well, that right there was the one truth that he told. You can put a lot of people behind that mask and find a lot of similarities. But that's a convenient statement given he has so many. So I don't know what that means. Maybe nothing, but we're here to talk about it. So that's what we're bringing up.
Searched your Range Rover extensively?
Yeah, they searched Range Rover. They towed my Range Rover. Uh, did all DNA testing or whatever, and then gave it back to me.
You got your car back?
Yes, a Range Rover, which I didn't even buy until after she was reported missing.
It was a new car, yeah?
Yeah.
For you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're talking about another car that was towed off my property. That car wasn't an accident, has nothing to do with this. It wasn't towed in relation to this case. It was being towed by the insurance company to assume if it was totaled or not. So that had nothing to do with the case.
Okay, so another truth here. They did give him his car back, as he stated. And we don't know, though, when he actually bought the car. So what we do know is, as a fact, is on January 23rd, which was before the crime, it was inspected. Usually a dealer will inspect the car prior to the sale once they have a buyer. That being said, on 2/17, the title was issued and changed into, I'm going to assume, Luke Daley's name or his mother's name, because we know he bought the car, around this time. Now, in Arizona, you must apply for a vehicle title within 15 days of purchase. The processing time and the mail can take, roughly 10 business days, as everything is usually done electronically. Sometimes they have someone hand carry the stuff to the dealerships, and it can take up to 6 weeks. So anywhere prior to the 17th of February, 15 business days could take us back. Actually, to that last week in February, right around the time the inspection was done, excuse me. So in Arizona, there's a 10-day rule for a car dealership. Basically, you can go into a dealership and you can negotiate with sales, and they can tell you, okay, we're going to give you this car with this much down. This is going to be your payment. And then what you do is you sign off on those terms. The finance department will then call a couple of banks. Usually they have you pre-approved, but they'll negotiate with a few banks to see if they can get you a better rate or a different term and get that deal bought. Sometimes when they go through the credit process, for whatever reason, the deal gets turned down. But they have 10 days to do that, which means you could have the car in your possession for 10 days prior to the actual bill of sale if you didn't secure financing in that time. In Luke's case, the car was paid for cash, and I know that because there are no liens on the vehicle. So in terms of actual bill of sale, when the car actually was put into his possession, I don't know. But what I do know is the police would not give the car back if it had any evidentiary value. So we can pretty much wipe that Range Rover off of the radar, even though, it looked like it appeared on a camera 2 miles away. Could have been a different one. I don't know. So the other car he's talking about is this blue Charger that was clearly in some sort of accident. In my opinion, it looks like an accident at a low rate of speed. Perhaps he rear-ended somebody. I have no idea. But I found it interesting that he made it a point to say he purchased the car, the Range Rover, after Nancy's disappearance. Again, we don't know if that's absolutely true. We know that car's not involved or he wouldn't have it. But he never mentioned when this car got into an accident. He said it was in an accident, but he never mentioned when, and that seemed to be something he wanted to talk about, dates. So I found that a little bit interesting. You would think that if the police suspected him truly, they would have taken this car into custody. It was in fact towed maybe a day or two after I want to say it was that Monday after he was detained, and it did go to State Farm. Did police pick it up from the insurance? We don't know. Again, Luke was just detained and released. Nothing else has been brought up in terms of his involvement in the Nancy Guthrie case. We do have a clip from Sheriff Nanos talking about the detainees.
What I will say is, we had what we believed to be probable cause to take action against both those individuals and the residence they occupied. That probable cause that we felt was strong was given to the U.S. Attorney, the county attorney, and a magistrate, a judge, and they agreed that, yes, here's a warrant, go perform your duties. That court order, that warrant, in both cases was served, and we got what we got from it, and we're moving on.
His body language, even his mouth, shows that ambiguous statement of we're moving on, because that can be taken many, many ways. Moving on as if they have nothing to do with it and they're moving on to the next person or thing, or moving on in terms of they're going to process the evidence and get what they get from it and move on in the case, or both. So we really just don't know exactly what that means. He certainly didn't say anyone was off the radar. He made that abundantly clear. Next, we have Brian Enton posted, the FBI is looking into a possible internet outage during the time that Nancy went missing. One neighbor is telling him that a Ring camera history is mysteriously not available the night that Nancy disappeared. And he posted that today. There's a lot of talk about these new devices, signal jammers. They block Wi-Fi signals and cell phone signals from being detected. They kind of scramble them with all their antennas. They can be worn, they can be put in a pocket, and they're becoming more popular. So here's a clip on some of that.
This doorbell camera video shows what Bel Air, Texas police say are skilled thieves approaching a suburban home. But look what happens as they get closer. The camera starts to glitch and the picture warps, all because police say the thieves are using a jammer, a small device that disables a home's Wi-Fi.
With the latest on how they're using Wi-Fi jammers to stay undetected. Annette.
Yeah, and get this, Annabelle, this now has become the preferred method of operation behind so many burglaries. Those burglars becoming more brazen by the day, but officials say there is a lot that you can do to stay one step ahead of them.
There are always ways that people will try and defeat whatever the system of the day is.
LAPD Chief Jim McDonald referring to Wi-Fi jammers as a universal key and the hottest device, which police say have been used by burglars in multiple home break-ins across the city.
It's instant. You just push a button and you jam the system. It's very simple. You buy the device, it's a few $100s, you could jam anybody's cameras.
within moments.
within seconds.
Guy Cohen is the founder of Secure It Homes. He explains how criminals often intercept and disable wireless security systems to gain access to homes without setting off any alarms.
Well, people are getting more bold with things. What they do now is more sophisticated, more advanced now.
That's why Guy says there's nothing like having a good old hardwire system in place.
Burglars are not looking to climb up on power poles and cut wires.
According to Guy, to protect your home, you should start with the outer perimeter, anything from extra lighting to noisy alarms that will make it harder for criminals to gain access to your house.
You have to think of your home as like an onion. You have the outside layer that you want to protect with early detection systems, and then you have the middle of the onion, which is your windows and doors that you want to protect with certain products. Then you have the core of your home, which is once the burglar has already gotten through all those things, then you could set up a special room, like a safe space in your house that the burglar can't get into.
Aside from technology, Chief McDonald points out that the people in your community also play a big part in keeping you and everyone safe.
Know your neighbors, have them look out for you, you look out for them, and nobody knows better than the people in the neighborhood what's out of place.
So we've learned a hardwire system is better than a Wi-Fi system, but you can have multiple systems on your home in multiple places. That definitely helps because I'm sure the jammers only work at a distance. I didn't get real involved with studying them, but I'm sure there's different grades of them, and they're relatively inexpensive. Most thieves aren't going to spend thousands of dollars on this equipment, but then again, it depends what they want to steal. So in Nancy's case, we have a guy dressed like a burglar. He did come to the home, fully geared out in burglar attire, and he came unusually, packed. I mean, most people don't go robbing houses with backpacks that are full. Usually they bring bags that they want to fill up, but that wasn't the case here. We also never heard of anything being stolen. Early on, it was said nothing was stolen. You can see a device hanging out of this individual's pocket. Could it be a Wi-Fi jammer? A lot of people said walkie-talkie, but it could be a Wi-Fi jammer as well. They have very similar antenna. We know he had a gun. We don't know if, in fact, it's actually a real gun, but, he did have one. We are back to square one in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We are still waiting to find out, if Sheriff Nanos is going to rule out any of the people that were detained. What did you think? What did you think of the interview? Any thoughts? Put them in the comments. I do answer most of the comments. I try to answer all of them. I guess we just really have to remember to stick to the facts, and we don't have many, and see if we can get to the bottom of this case. If anyone is watching, has any information, call 1-800, call FBI, and give your tip to law enforcement. Any little bit of information could be a help at this point. Thank you so much for watching, and always be safe.